yelling at me in Japanese. What did I do? What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Drive New Hampshire. And you joined me from the wrong side of the car, again. But this time I'm no longer a virgin to the right-hand drive life. At this point I'm the Ron Jeremy of it, a true professional. I'm in a regular four-door Skyline here. Nothing really that special. Oh, except for the fact that when you put your right foot down, you hear all sorts of whoosh, and your eyeballs make their new home at the back of your head. That might have something to do with the fact that under the hood is the famed RB26 engine strapped with twin turbos and making 430 all-wheel horsepower. You aren't gonna want to miss this one. Again, a huge special thanks to Northeast Auto Imports for loaning me this mutant for the day. Check out its listing down in the description, as well as some of the other unique imported vehicles at Northeast Auto Imports. One of the most notorious things to come from East Asia, a legendary platform that has a cult following greater than that of Asa Akira. The Nissan Skyline GT-R, known for its famed looks, monstrous performance, and ability to sculpt roads as well as the track. The first Skyline was introduced in 1957 and was available until 1964. The first racy Skyline GT was introduced in 1964 while Nissan was under Prince Motors. In 1966, Prince and Nissan merged, creating what we now know as the Nissan Skyline. That first generation ran from 1969 till 1972. The 1969 Skyline dominated races as a touring car, winning 52 races in its first 3 years.
Here's the deal, I'm the best there is.
Fast forward 20 years to 1989 and the introduction of the R34 Skyline GT-R. An all-wheel drive, 280 horsepower monster.
For the Nissan GT-R, the world's most advanced sports coupe. The GT-R is deserving of its supercar status.
Never sold here in America, but no less popular, as they still somehow made their way over here, both legally and illegally. The R33 Skyline was produced from 1993 to 1998 and was a bit softer than its older brother, but had even more of a credible track history. Finishing in the top 10 overall in the 1995 24 Hours of Le Mans, pounding Ferrari F40s and McLaren F1s. In 1998, the R34 Skyline GT-R was introduced and ran until 2002. The same RB26 DETT motor was standard, but now made 327 horsepower, or so they said. These were street cars which made a name for themselves on the racetrack, and in Too Fast, Too Furious, and Gran Turismo. Now, if you're like the many young kids in the car community that gawked over the Skyline GT-R when it made its appearance on film, piloted by the late, great Paul Walker, or you piloted one for yourself in Gran Turismo, you probably want one. And who wouldn't? They are mythical creatures of the car world and fanatic performers. What if you need practicality and can't talk yourself into saying, oh, a two-door will be fine? Or maybe your other half won't let anything with less than 4 doors in the driveway. Well, the key to a happy, loving relationship is through trust and compromise. And that's where this comes in. Say konnichiwa to the insanity that is this four-door Godzilla Skyline GT-R. This is the 1994 Skyline GT-S4. And if you're from America and have no idea what that is, well, think of it as their Nissan Maxima. And in many ways, you can think of this car as the Japanese Cadillac CTS-V. It's essentially a four-door version of the Chevy Corvette. It has the motor from a Corvette, it has the gearbox from the Vette, and it even has the magnetic ride control suspension from the Corvette. It's a mud of performance parts peppered onto a comfortable, practical people carrier. Except this GT-S4 is injected with the parts off a Skyline GT-R. On the outside, it looks rather standard. It has four doors, which means people in the back can actually sit and not do their best impersonation of the fetal position. It has a trunk that can fit large things and can be utilized for day-to-day activities. And on the front of it is the Nismo 400R style front bumper to give the basic four-door sedan a jazzed-up look that might suggest its lust is deeper than just its looks. That suggestion might also come from the massive front intercooler peeking out of the grille. The whole car is painted in this dark metallic light gray color, reminiscent of the titanium metallic paint on the R35 GT-R model. Much like the rest of the car, the paint is not a factory color option. It's new and shines beautifully on the 113,000 kilometer or around 70,000 mile body. The 18-inch raised wheels complete the whole package, turning this basic four-door saloon into a cold-blooded sleeper that looks damn good. The interior is pretty normal as well. It's comfortable and it's basic, with enough additional modifications to make sure every time you get in it, you know you're not in a standard GT-S4. In the center of the dashboard, you have DEFI gauges, which read off your water temp, your oil temp, and your oil pressure. Just to the right of the steering wheel here, you have a DEFI boost gauge as well, something especially important on a vehicle like this. Moving down the center stack here below your climate controls, yes, you have air conditioning, but you also have this touchscreen Pioneer head unit, which adds a nice touch of modern technology. And below that, we have something I have never seen before. This is an electronic damping controller for the suspension from inside the car. It's made by a Japanese company named Cusco and allows you, while still inside your vehicle, to electronically adjust the damping settings of your suspension. Why don't more cars have that? But really, all that's nonsense. You don't care about that. What you do care about is the fire-breathing monster that's under that hood. This is the 2.6-liter RB26 DETT inline six-cylinder engine. Its twin Garrett turbochargers help this freak create 430 horsepower to all four wheels through GT-R drive shafts and axles. That's right, 430 all-wheel drive horsepower. This thing is a monster. This engine even has a coil pack off the current R35 GT-R. Sound is just a Japanese symphony of 6 cylinders firing in a straight line. The second duo of musicians is those twin turbos screaming their angelic voices. This thing is quick! Damn it, the only thing I'm not used to with right-hand drive is putting on the directional on your right side and not putting on the windshield wipers every single time I need to make a turn. Pain in the butt. Now this engine is popular and with good reason. It's strong and has quite the power potential thanks to its forged internals inside that iron block. It has 6 individual throttle bodies. 6! You do have to rev it up to get the power out of it. It likes to start pulling hard around 5,000 RPM. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. 4. There's 5. Holy sh**. Wow. Aftermarket camshafts help add to the power and that symphony on startup and idle. And as if this car wasn't crazy enough, it has a proper manual transmission with a third pedal to correctly control this incredible machine. Now the clutch has a very short throw. You can tell it's a performance clutch. It feels very similar to the Stage 2 that's in my brother's 300ZX. But really the most trouble I had was when I was first rolling out of first gear. Every other gear change was very easy and you can do them very quickly. Look down at those handsome clean gauges and realize just how much over the speed limit you are going, you can slam Jesus. You can slam on the GT-R brakes and put your eyeballs on the windshield. May even anata no zuban o tawogato. That's your pants in Japanese, I think. And if you do happen to get pulled over, your excuse can be that you weren't able to get out your kilometers an hour to miles an hour conversion chart in enough time. Or just say no hablo inglés. Can't read the gauges, sorry. Can't you see my gut? I'm American too. Now because this car is basically Frankenstein, I don't know its performance numbers. I'm not sure of the top speed as I don't have a racetrack or a runway at my disposal. And I don't have that big of testes to find out. I don't know the 0 to 60 time as well as I don't have a means of timing it. All you need to know is this thing is f***ing quick. Oh my gosh. Now it's all good and proper going in a straight line, but what happens when you introduce it into a bend is even more amazing. It's so stable and planted. There's hardly any body roll at all. You can point the car right where you want it to go, and it sticks right to it. Speaking of handling, the steering has an incredible feel to it. It's a little bit vague on center, but I've heard that that's many of these Skylines. The response and feedback are extremely quick for an older vehicle. It's just fantastic. And once you're done being a lunatic, you can go into the Cusco damper controller, soften up the suspension, turn on the air conditioning, put on the stereo, and sit back and have a nice, comfortable ride. It really is that civilized now. It's smooth and the engine doesn't make too much of a racket. This very well could be a daily driver. I have space in the back for 3 normal-sized friends. I have room in the trunk for more than just a laptop and a newspaper. I have the ability to absolutely walk on flashier 2-door sports cars. And all my passengers in the back seat can wave them goodbye out the back window. Bye-bye. This thing really is special to drive. And if you're interested in purchasing this mutant monster of a car and owning most likely one of the only ones like it in the United States and here legally, then check out its listing down in the description, as well as some of the other unique imported cars available for sale at Northeast Auto Imports. And if you enjoyed this review, you're definitely not going to want to miss this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy motoring.
We'll be right back.